Hi, good morning everyone. I'm JP Thong. I'm now at Kechara Forest Retreat in Malaysia. And thank you for tuning in to the day 10th of Mindful Morning Meditation. All right, we will wait a few seconds for everyone to tune in. For those of you who have been keeping your gratitude journal, it'd be great if you can share with all of us what you have been writing. And we can do that after our 10-minute meditation. Yeah. Good morning, Lai Hing and Frank. Thank you very much for tuning in again. We will wait a few more seconds for more people to tune in. Good morning, Tawubi. And for those of you who do have some questions from yesterday or any of the talks that I made for the past week and a half, by all means, you can always write here so that I can answer them and everyone can learn from them, yeah? Good morning, Andrew. Hi, Irene. Hi, Natasha. Good evening. Hi, King Hoi. We'll wait a few more seconds before we start. Hi, Tony Vajra. Dashidele. Tony Vajra is Kenneth. Hi, Nancy. Good morning. Thank you for making it this morning. Adeline. Hi, Patricia. Okay, a few more seconds for a few more people to tune in, and then we will start with our 9-round breathing meditation. Good morning, Christina. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Manting, good morning. Zinkoi. Thank you very much for your love. Thank you. Cochran, good morning. Sharon, hi, good morning. Okay, I think we shall start. Okay, please sit on a cushion, just like me. If you're on the floor, always sit on the cushion like that. Sit at the edge. Hi, Yukochi, good morning. Okay, sit on the edge like that. Prop your back up. Okay, so that your posture is straight and the energy can flow much better. And if you're on a chair or a sofa, same thing. All right, if your sofa is a bit too soft, it's going to be quite uncomfortable, yeah, because you will have to keep propping yourself up like that and you will feel a backache. So if you're on the sofa, make sure that it's not too soft, all right? Okay, so we will start with the 9-round breathing meditation to bring in all the healing white light and all the oxygen, and we fill our entire body with it. And this is especially good in the morning because that's where all the fresh air and all the oxygen is. So immediately you feel charged and re-energized, right? Then after that, we will proceed to our 10-minute meditation, Okay, good morning, Pastor Lim Hani, good morning, and Yi Kok Chi. All right, so let's start. Left hand up, thumb down, wrap your thumb, put it under your armpit very gently. Right hand, pointer finger over your middle finger and hold down your left nostril. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Remember to breathe from your tummy. Right hand out, thumb down, wrap your thumb, put it under your armpit, left hand up, pointer finger over your right finger, hold down your right nostril, breathe in and out. Breathe in out and breathe in. Out. Both hands on your thighs. Breathe in. Out. Breathe in. Out. And breathe in. Out. And we're done. Okay. Good morning, Pastor Albert. Good morning, Norman. Good morning, Iman. Good morning, Karine. Wow, I feel so refreshed from bringing all that oxygen and pumping it into my body and releasing all that stress and all the worries. Yeah? So always take very naturally, just breathe in from the tummy all that fresh air. Always breathe naturally, never force it, breathe naturally. All right, and always breathe from the tummy. Then you maximize the intake of the oxygen, and when you exhale all the way so that there's no breath left in your system. Just breathe it all out. Then that'll be very good. Good morning, Cassandra. Good morning, Annette. All right, so today, as you can see, I will be talking about love and how to operate from love. Because yesterday I spoke about judging versus perceiving. And at the end of yesterday's session, I touched on how when we operate from fear, how it doesn't serve us because we limit ourselves with what we want to do, and we don't, and as a result, we cut off all the possibilities that are waiting for us. Whereas compared to when we operate from love, you focus on the love, you focus on the creation, and there are endless opportunities as a result. I will go into it deeper today so that we have a much better understanding. And when we do this single-pointed meditation, every time when we are aware of us operating from fear, then we can go, okay, watch it, bye-bye, and then come back on operating from love, which is operating from creation. And I'll talk more. Raj Kumar is watching. Hi, Raj Kumar. Namaste. If everyone is ready, we will start with our 10-minute single-pointed meditation. Don't worry about the time. I will keep the time for you. Because we have a tendency of, during the meditation, we have a tendency to always think, oh, is it time yet? Is it time yet? Is it time yet? All right? So let's focus on the breath instead. And if everyone is ready, we shall start. Just a reminder, tongue curled up. Okay, gently rest your tongue on top of your teeth, just like that. This is your teeth, rest it. And your eyes should look down, 45-degree angle. Some of you tell me that you focus better with your eyes closed. It's just as good. You can do that as well. But just don't fall asleep, that's all. And don't look straight ahead, because the tendency of us getting distracted is very high, so usually just 45-degree angle. Okay, then find the center, rock forward and backwards. Okay. Once you find your center, stop. Adjust your legs. If you're already feeling the pins and needles, adjust and feel comfortable. Posture, erect. Roll your shoulders, relax. Okay. Hi Lily Tan, thank you for tuning in. And here we go. Again, you can put your hands over your thighs, palm down, palm up, like this, doesn't matter. But I prefer this. Left hand at the bottom, right hand over. This is to help the chi move much easier. All right? Chin down a little bit so that your back is straight. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in from your tummy and breathe out. Breathe in all the white healing light, filling your entire body. And breathe out all the dark smoke, which carries out your stress, anxiety, fears, irritation. Breathe that all out. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. Fill every cell of your body with this white healing light. Feel it tingling all over your body. And breathe out all the darkness, because when there's light, there's no room for darkness. Breathe out all the aches and pains in your body. And your body is tingling with this healing white light. Bring your thoughts back to your nostrils, always. Watch the thoughts as they arise, but focus on your nostril. When you hear a sound, watch it. Bring your attention back to the breathing. Focus on the nostrils. focus on the nostril. Bring the focus back on the air going in and out of the nostrils. Focus on the sensation around the rim of the nostrils as the air passes in and out. And 3, 2, 1. And we're done. Wow. So how does everyone feel? Please share with me. Good morning, Kin Ho. Thank you very much for tuning in. Yin Peng, Shelly Tai, Jacinta. Thank you very much for joining us. We just completed our 10-minute single-pointed meditation. Please share with me how you felt. What was your experience? Was it easier for you? Tell me your experience so that we can share. Yeah? Now, I had questions that were sent to me yesterday after the talk, and I will answer those questions right now so that everyone can benefit from it. And of course, feel free to post your questions here. Then after that, I will talk about love and how we can operate from love on a daily basis and how that will be very beneficial for us. Let me take a look. Okay, these were questions that were sent to me in private. And the person asked, what if, because yesterday I spoke about judging versus perceiving and what are the benefits and disadvantage. Excuse me. Number one, what if there is people whom you see often, not family members, who are clearly and constantly prone to idle chat about other people, that is, gossiping about others, yet rather showing a different face when talking to the person whom they gossip about. Excuse me. Is it fine for me to distance from them? I will still talk to them, but will avoid unnecessary social gathering with them. In Buddhism, we should not engage in idle chat, right? In Buddhism, yes, we do not engage in idle chat because idle chat is basically gossiping about others. And what this person is saying is that these people would talk bad about this person behind their back, and then in front of this person, they will be very nice. No, I think it's not just in Buddhism that we do not encourage. I think even as a decent person, it's not very nice to talk about others and focus on others' faults or flaws, and use that as a way of enjoyment, as entertainment. There's a deeper psychology to that. If you notice that people who always like to talk about other people's flaws or their inadequacy, their lack of, the deeper psychology for that is that because they themselves, that means the people who are talking, who are gossiping, they themselves are extremely unhappy with themselves. And instead of focusing on themselves and their perceived inadequacy about themselves. Okay, what I mean perceive is they judge themselves. They came up with a conclusion for themselves that they are not good enough and they are full of flaws. And they cannot accept themselves because of these flaws. So instead of focusing on that, they would rather put everyone's attention on somebody else's flaws. That's that psychology behind it. And when that happens, that person feels safe. That, okay, great. Focus on this person's flaws so that you don't focus on my flaws. And we don't get to talk about it because I do not want to talk about it. I do not want to confront them. I do not want to put in the effort to change. So let's all talk about this other person's fault. So indirectly, it is saying, put your attention there, and that's it. And don't look at mine. Because what the person wants to portray to everyone else is, There's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfect. I'm perfect. There's nothing wrong with me. Let's talk about this person's flaws. And everybody just chimes in and talk and talk and talk and talk. That's the psychology behind it. So that does not serve us as an individual. It doesn't serve us because it reinforces our habituation of being in further denial, and not work on ourselves. Why are we unhappy with ourselves? Why are we judging ourselves? Why are we being so harsh with ourselves? And even if you're right about ourselves, are we putting in the effort to transform? Are we? See, we have to be very honest. And if we are not, why not? And if you're happy with not doing what it takes to get out of whatever negative emotions that you're feeling about yourself, well, then you take responsibility for the choice that you make. Okay? So, yes, so definitely, I think not just in Buddhism, for any decent person, we do not gossip. Number 2, you mentioned about not to build walls around ourselves and to operate based on love and compassion instead of fear. How about this situation? We tried removing our walls, be open and engage some people, but the counterpart is reluctant to reciprocate or accept. I believe this has to do with karma and affinity. I believe that there is some people who are just not meant to be, and hence we should step back and stop pushing it further right. We should focus on things and people who are worth our attention and time. Well, when we operate out of, which is exactly what today's talk is going to be about love, we are operating from authenticity. We are operating from authenticity. What does that mean? You operate from your true self. Your true self. And when that happens, we are very vulnerable. And many of us are not okay showing our true self, because we equate being vulnerable as being weak. But in hindsight, being vulnerable is the most powerful. It's the most powerful. Because we're not putting in any energy to pretend to be somebody else. We're just focusing on being ourselves. And when we are ourselves, and especially when we are our true self is innately love and compassion. Innately. If sometimes we feel that we have to struggle just to be kind and loving and compassionate, is because, throughout the many decades, we have conditioned ourselves to be very selfish. And that is very unnatural. It's very unnatural. And that is why that many times at night when you're alone, you feel very, very tired. You feel alone. You feel a sense of emptiness. And you just don't feel settled. That's because we have been operating unnaturally. So when we operate out of love and just unleashing that love and compassion outwards, without fear, it will come up very naturally. But of course, the mind keeps kicking in and say, if I open up myself and be authentic, I might get hurt. So, which I'll talk about afterwards. So you're saying that if they don't reciprocate, then should I not spend so much time on them? They don't have to reciprocate. They don't have to. Our authenticity is not defined by how people react to us. We are authentic, period. Just because that person doesn't reciprocate or doesn't even appreciate or show any form of appreciation, it's fine. It's fine. Let's not focus on our projection, you see? Because this question already tells me that we will automatically say, if I do this, then you should do that. It is projecting an expectation of how this person should and should not react. You see, that is our expectation that we are latching on to others. So if you take a step back, that's our problem. It's not their problem. They do not have to behave the way we expect them to behave. Okay, so that's not being very realistic. So if you want to be authentic, to put your guards down and be a kind, loving person, do that. Do that. Because when we operate from love and compassion and care always, it is very, very infectious. Very, very infectious. Some people may not appreciate it, but many people will. And after a while, the toughest person will just go, oh, this person is too nice. It's too nice. All right, so like I always say, we drown the person with our love and kindness and compassion. So even if they talk bad about you, even if they behave bad towards you, they'll look silly because you're harmless and you're nothing but love and compassion. I hope that makes sense. Number 3, observe this in reality. In most groups of people and organizations, yes, people are inherently kind and good, but in reality, human actions will usually be influenced by various factors, perhaps without them realizing it, such as the nature of the relationship, benefits derived from certain people, and the value of contribution from that person. What I'm trying to say is this. When you have some sort of status, relationship, connection, and value, you will be treated differently and, in fact, better by some people. Hence, yes, people can be kind, but their real kindness, care, and action vary in degree according to the aforesaid factors. Equanimity is rare, very, very rare. Sad but true. So what's your thought on this? Thanks. What you say is very, very true. Very, very true. Whatever reasons or agenda other people may have when they are nice to you, take it. Take it. Experience it. Cherish it. At least they are taking the effort to be nice. That's where I'm coming from. But that should not influence us. That should not influence us to be otherwise. I will continue to be loving and kind and compassionate. Regardless, I will. I will keep doing that, and I will operate out of authenticity because that's the most powerful. And I believe that if I do that, if I operate from there, it will inspire others to not be afraid, to open up and be vulnerable and be authentic. That will take time, definitely. That will take time because a lot of us are habituated to focus on our fears. That is why single-pointed meditation is so important. As I said, it's single-pointed meditation is going to the gym for the mind. For the mind. So in order for us to build that resilience and determination, the willpower, all that, it takes a lot of control of the mind to focus on what truly matters. So if we want to change the world, if we want to inspire others, we got to start changing ourselves. It's impossible to change others, but it's definitely possible to change ourselves. So let's start with ourselves. I hope that makes sense. Do we have more questions? Hi, Brian Wong. Hi, Ken, Phoebe. Thank you very much for tuning in. Tan Wu Bi shares, had a few distractions and thank you for your love, yeah? And me today, and managed to watch it pass and focus back. Feeling good. Thanks, JP. You're most welcome. Lai Hing says, being vulnerable requires great courage. Definitely. You see, Lai Hing, because because all this while we're so focused on how people think and reciprocate by seeing who, we're so focused on that, and we put so much importance and emphasis on on feeling accepted, that we lose ourselves in the midst of that. So when we meditate, it helps us focus back on what truly matters. That's why after the first 2 sessions of the morning meditation, I thought, instead of just meditating, let me just share a few things about the human mind, what I've learned about the human mind, and how that can help each one of us contemplate, so that we can operate from authenticity, which is being vulnerable, which is only but love, compassion, and kindness. Definitely. When we focus on that, everything else that arises, the attachment of always wanting to be accepted, the attachment of people going, oh, you're so beautiful, oh, you're this, oh, you're that, you're so great, that is our attachment. We are driven by people's acknowledgement of how great we are or not so great. That is something that is not real. That should not define who we are. That should not. This is just something that we have been trained or conditioned to do so. So if you contemplate deeper, you will find out, does that make sense? Does that benefit me? Am I happy? And what if people don't accept you? And what if people do not agree with you? And what if people say this and that, this and that, this and that about you? What if? What happens after that? What happens? Do what they say make sense? Is it really you? Who are you? These are questions we contemplate on. So if we're not happy, if we are, there are some people, they just laze around, they don't do anything, and their parents lash out on them because they're just not doing anything with their lives, because they're attached to the laziness or whatever it is, and that's not helping them ultimately. Then of course they go, I'm going to put up this wall as a way to cover and protect their laziness. See, the human mind is very complex, so each and every situation is very different. So there's no hard and fast rule, but the key here is to be brutally honest with ourselves. Brutally honest with ourselves. Are we putting in the effort to change? Are we very attached to our 5 senses, and all we do is feed the 5 senses? Because why? It's supposed to make me, quote unquote, happy. So in my earlier talk, I was saying how feeding these 5 senses to make us feel happy is equivalent to being thirsty and you drink salt water. It will never be enough. You will only become thirstier and thirstier, and you have to drink more and more and more and more. And after a while, after 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you go, oh, I'm tired. Whew, what was that about? Oh, I'm burnt out. Oh, I have anxiety. Oh, I should do some yoga to kind of chill. This is your mind telling you you're barking up the wrong tree. So the good news is, now that we are learning single-pointed meditation, we train up the mind, control it, have a much better grasp of focusing, and we focus on what I've been sharing with all of you, and you contemplate on it and see how it relates to you. Okay? For each one of us is very, very different. So we cannot have a hard and fast rule for everyone. All right? Oh, and by the way, and courage arises from love. Courage arises from love. If we operate from love. All right? Wei Ting says, some thoughts come and goes today, but when focusing on the breathing and white cleansing light, it's better. Feeling good after the session and seems like 10 minutes is a bit short. Definitely. And Lai Hing says, as human beings, we've often noticed in others what we ourselves need. Perhaps we can reflect on this. Definitely. The reason is this. We always see, it is always easier for us to see the different facets of others because, sorry, let me repeat. We can always identify certain aspects of other people's character because we have them. Because we have them, we know them. That's why we know how to identify them. That's why the saying, stop pointing fingers at others, because you have those qualities as well. See? So instead of, again, judging, perceive. Perceive. Because we can always change. Don't forget that. Just because we are, let's say, not very hardworking now, it doesn't mean you're not ever going to be hardworking for the rest of your life. We can always change. We can always change. The key here is change. Change. How we were 20 years ago and how we are today, most of us have changed because of certain conditions as we experience life. We have changed. Okay, so that's why perceiving is more empowering. Judging is not as great because we put things, we put situations, and we put people in a box. We even put ourselves in a box when we judge. So it doesn't enable us to empower ourselves and others if we judge. So always perceive. If you missed that sharing, which I did yesterday, please watch that. Okay. Hi Audrey, thank you very much for tuning in. Lai Hing says, great advice to focus on changing ourselves. I learned that when I change, guided on by my intention, others' reaction to me also changes. That was an amazing revelation for me. Definitely. You see, everything, when I share with you all these things, and when you piece them all together, and you focus on all this, it all comes back to the intention. That's why intention is so important, Lai Hing. Everything else will fall in place. Even like you say, well, guess what? I'm going to be vulnerable today because I'm going to be my authentic self. And I'm going to use my authentic self to inspire others to do the same because it is more beneficial. And the person will be more at peace just by being authentic. Why pretend to be somebody else? It takes a lot of energy to pretend to be somebody else. Why not focus on just be authentic? Just be that bundle of love and compassion, because that is innately in us. So if that is our intention, everything else we won't focus on anymore, and we will just focus on that intention. That is why I keep saying this and I keep harping on it every session. How controlling the mind to focus on what really matters is so, so, so important. Christina, I live to learn to give without expectations, which is so. That's great, Christina. Which makes me feel good without expecting something in return. Definitely. Give from the heart. That's it. This is my gift. G-I-F-T. Gift to you. Take it. Take it. I don't need a thank you. I don't need a hug. Nothing. It's from my heart to you. Because I feel You need it. Take it. Okay, so gratitude. Let me share with you my gratitude from yesterday. I'm grateful to have a phone, definitely, so that I can check all my messages and keep me abreast with the current news. I'm grateful to have broadband internet. Oh yes, broadband internet. That's very precious. And I'm grateful to have a sound mind, definitely, a sound mind. Because I'm hearing stories that people are, as they age, their mind starts to fade. And that's very worrying. So what's your gratitude? Care to share with me? Leong Wing Ye, hi. Thank you for tuning in. Speaking of intentions, not sure if this topic has been covered in an earlier session, but it might be interesting to discuss on intentions and desires. Yes, I have spoken about that in my previous sessions. Do go back and watch it. All right. Do keep writing your messages, and I will come to it. I'm going to talk very briefly on love, real love, and how to operate from real love, which we have touched on as we were discussing earlier. What is love? What is love? Real love. You see, many people have different versions of what love is. But real love is unconditional. It's unconditional. Love, it's about giving. It's about giving. Giving what you've got. Always give. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about giving a part of you, giving your attention, lending an ear. It's something that is not tangible. Your attention, your emotional support, your wisdom, whatever knowledge you have. Being consistent. Whatever you say, you will do. Have integrity. Okay? Having integrity is one of the key components to love. Because if we don't mean what we say, after a while, people are not going to trust us. And you go, hey, I love you, but why are you not reciprocating? Why am I being treated so badly just because I'm operating out of love? Because don't forget, it's not about the lip service. It's not saying, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. No, it's not that. It's more than that. It's the actions. So being consistent. When you say something that you do it consistently without reminders. And after a while, people will be inspired by your love, because it's not just talk. And whatever you say, you do. Whatever you tell them, you do. No matter how trivial you think it may be. No matter how. Because that is part of love. So when we operate out of love, what does that mean? That means we're always giving. We're always thinking of how to benefit others. I'm not saying that you should go to everyone and say, hey, you have a problem, how am I going to help you? No. You see, when a person is not ready and not even asking for your help, don't barge in, because the doors are closed. No matter what our intentions are, no matter what, be mindful. And if the person gives us permission to enter because of their fear of being hurt, if they're being too vulnerable, because they do not want to express whatever is inside of them. So it will take time. It will take time. All right, so let me repeat. I'm not saying you should go out and help everyone. It's just be ready. have that spontaneity of helping others. That is natural. It's very, very natural. And do it even if it's very inconvenient for you. Maybe you're busy doing something, maybe you're driving, we're not going out now, but it's just you're working and somebody in your household needs help. Do it. Be spontaneous about it. And then come back and continue with what you do. And of course, when we operate from love, we have to operate from authenticity, being vulnerable. Being vulnerable. And what does that mean? So when we operate from love, from care, from all the positivity, we're also operating out of creation. Because why? When there's love, fear cannot exist. Real love. Okay? Real love. Because we are doing this unconditionally. Unconditionally. Okay? That's the key here. It's unconditional love. Most of us are used to conditional love. If I treat you well, if I do this for you, you better reciprocate. If not, I'm just going to shut my doors on you. And if you lash out at me, I'm going to feel hurt because, hey, how dare you? I gave you my love. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you hurting me? I'm not talking about physical hurt, okay? If somebody beats you up, then you better get out of that situation. I'm talking about people who are insensitive and they lash out. Okay, I'm not referring to abusive relationships here. There are people who are abusive to us mentally, even physically. And in those situations, these kind of people need help. And it's beyond us to help them. No matter how compassionate we are, we don't have that wisdom to help them. It is always advisable to get out of that situation and find professional help for that person. And usually that person will not accept because they're in denial. That is why they have become, in that situation of being extremely abusive. So I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about just normal day-to-day, people being insensitive, they don't reciprocate. Doesn't matter because you know why? You wanted to give that part of you unconditionally. It's your way of expressing your gratitude towards that person. Focus back on your intention. When we operate from that kind of intention, it is not, how would I say, what we do to fulfill that intention is not driven by how people reciprocate. Reciprocate meaning, no reaction, no acknowledgement, no thank you. They walk away, they tell you off. No. Doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. As long as you know what you're doing. Okay, but be careful. Don't go out there and be like Florence Nightingale where you're trying to nurse everyone. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying be ready when somebody needs help. Extend your help. Extend your help. Going back to operating out of love, yes, it also equates to creation. What does that mean? Now, I spoke about that at the end of yesterday's talk, and I also brushed over it just now. When we operate from love, it is operating out of creation. Because like I said, with love, there is no room for fear. There's no room for fear. You become fearless. As a result, everything you do, it's a creation, which means you will even tap into unknown territories, areas that you have never touched, you've never been there before, and you feel extremely, quote-unquote, unsafe, vulnerable. But you see, usually you will feel like that, but because the fear is no longer entertained. The fear is there, but you don't entertain it. You focus on the love. You focus on the creation, on the love. You will tap into a world of possibilities, because that's where if we focus on that and you do things differently. And Lai Hing says, oh, that takes a lot of courage. Yeah, you can coin it as courage. I coin it as love. Then there are endless opportunities out there and possibilities for us. That is why it is very, 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 very powerful to operate from love. Very, very powerful. Before I continue, are there any other questions? Hi Sharon. I'm grateful that I'm able to go on silent and lesser guided meditation. I'm grateful that I begin to open my heart out to get myself nearer to Buddha. I'm grateful that I have the bravery to admit myself is vulnerable now. Thank you so much, Sharon, for sharing your gratitude with us today. Yes, being vulnerable is very, very important, as I said, because when we operate from love, everything else will not matter anymore. Callista, I got a question. One of the examples, as mentioned, is be a good listener. If that person is frustrated and kept complaining, knowing that she is at the peak of anger and thinking her action is correct, where is this? So how do I skillfully answer or calm her without breaking my vow as a Buddhist? Your vow as a Buddhist? What vow? What vow are you taking? I'm not very sure. I got a question. One of the examples, as mentioned, is be a good listener. If that person is frustrated and kept complaining, knowing that she's at the peak of anger and thinking her action is correct, so how do I skillfully answer or calm her without breaking my vow as a Buddhist? I'm not quite sure what vow you're talking about. She demand for answer. It's case to case, yeah, Callista, because I cannot give you a hard and fast rule. I cannot give you a hard and fast rule. Whatever the person is frustrated with, perhaps just call for a quick timeout. Quick timeout. For me, if a person keeps shouting at me and on and on and on, I just keep quiet. And I remain very calm and I don't react. Usually, I just don't react. And I would say, all right, let's take a breather, because when we keep shouting and operating from anger and frustration, whatever, it is not going to make the matter easier. It will make the situation even more difficult to resolve. So let's resolve it when we are more calm. And just stay calm. Take a seat. Stay calm. You don't have to ignore the person, but just stay calm and smile. Because that is very infectious. I find that for myself, when I'm caught in these situations, when I do that, the person usually just calms down. They usually calm down, because I always say, yeah, I mean, I hear you, but let's talk nicely and let's try to resolve the situation. All this shouting and all that is not going to help the situation. Okay, that's how I do it. So I'm not sure what vow you're talking about. Okay, Lai Hing says, your session today really resonates with me. Thanks, we'll be signing off. Thank you very much, Lai Hing, for joining. Okay, so do we have any more questions on operating from love? Okay, so if our intention is to operate from love, unconditional love, the key here is unconditional. That is the real love, unconditional love. If our intention is to operate from there, for the day, for the year, everything else will fall in place. You will notice that, well, yes, your fears will still be there, because we have not fully evolved yet. Our fears will be there, but we have now learned to focus on just unconditional love. We will keep giving, and we will never be burned out, because it's natural. You're not pretending. You're not pretending love. And if you're quote unquote hurt just because somebody lashes out at you, you see, always remember, we are not so evolved yet. So definitely we can be hurt. Definitely we will have expectations. Definitely. But instead of entertaining and focusing on the reaction and focusing on our judgment, we focus on our intention. We focus on our intention and what we want to create. That is most important. Okay, this topic on love, I can go on for days because there's so many things about love about unconditional love that we can talk about. But today's session is just very brief so that we can, get going and practice and operate from what we have shared. And if you do have any more questions, please leave it here. Please leave your questions here. I will answer them either online or I can share with everyone the following day. Okay, I think time is almost up. Thank you very much for all of you for tuning in. Now don't forget to click like and do share with your friends whom you think will benefit from this session. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Thank you.